A new poll has shown that nearly 8 in 10 Americans believe that drug costs are unreasonable, as do I personally. And President Trump and senators from both parties are not giving up the fight over forcing drug companies to disclose list prices in TV ads. Joining us now to discuss is Dr. Katie Jarvis, a healthcare efficiency and transparency expert. Thank you for being with us, Dr. Jarvis.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Now, before we brought you on, I was talking to Kimberly. I said, I hope you know a lot about what this topic is, because I don't. And even reading the prep, I still can't wrap my mind around a lot of it, because it's break it down for the layperson. Why would increased drug price transparency affect the market and help the consumer?
Okay, so what they're talking about is when you watch a television ad in between on the commercial break of a TV show, you see an advertisement for a medication, and they talk to you about the medication's benefits. They also talk to you about the risks. What they don't talk to you about right now is the price. What they're talking about changing is requiring all pharmaceutical companies to list the price, the monthly price of the medication, if it's over $35. So we're not talking about, there are a lot of medications that are less than $4 and are on the $4 Walmart list. We're not talking about those medications. We're talking about medication that's more expensive than that, which allows you to kind of shop for the right medication, both on what it does and also on what it costs.
Yeah, I don't know why they don't. It's and I saw kind of the back and forth in the write-up about the people that were for and against it, because they were going, well, wait a minute. Every insurance policy has a different payment for our product, but just straight across the board, they should be able to put up what the true cost of the drug is and then do their famous disclaimer about how, check with your own policy to see what your rates are. Just in the same way they do with all their warnings and contradictions and outright side effects of a drug. Why can't they do that?
Right. So price can be a side effect, I think. If you think about 2/3 of bankruptcies of Americans happen because of healthcare expenses, and most of them have insurance. The price of medication makes a big difference.
Do you think that them owning up to what the cost is will drive prescription prices down?
Before you even answer that, here's my question is sort of an outsider to the medical field. Why are drugs so damn expensive? I mean, the biggest thing I've been seeing in the news lately is, greed,
Lobbyists.
of course. That's the obvious one. But here in America, mostly, because I was seeing how the creator of insulin, I believe, was a Canadian guy. And when he created it, he sold it to the government for $1 because he wanted it he wanted everyone to have access to it and not have to really pay for it. Yet the price here in the States is out of control. Why are these drugs so expensive in the first place?
So there is a really long process of developing a drug. You first of all have to go through lots and lots of bench science experiments. We're talking experiments with rats and mice before you even can then trial it in humans.
Right.
Once you trial it in humans, you can just say, is it safe? Then you have to say, does it actually make an improvement? And is it even better than the last drug? So that process takes so long to get through, and it's very expensive. And not all drugs that you think might work actually work. And so they have to experiment on several drugs to get one that works. So we're talking about a massive expense to even get one drug to market before that then start to go on the ads on TV to tell you about it.
Sure.
So that process through the FDA takes a very long time, but the process of also the research and development of the drug takes a really long time.
And probably the cost of the drug lobbyist, I'm sure that cost a pretty penny.
I'm sure it is too.
Yeah.
It turns out that we didn't used to have a whole lot of ads on TV for drugs. If I think back to my childhood,
Correct.
I watched TV and I never saw a drug ad. And now I close my eyes and I can't even go through a commercial break without seeing a drug ad.
Yes.
The reason for that is that they have shifted in how they're marketing their products. So they used to market directly to doctors, but then there were lots of studies that happened in the 90s and early 2000s that said that we're influenced by a pharmaceutical rep giving us a pen or giving us a lunch. And so a lot of doctors then, after that, decided they wouldn't take lunches or free stuff from the pharmaceutical industry. So now there are several doctors' offices that won't even let you lobby to them, or the pharmaceutical companies lobby to them. They then turned around and lobbied to the American public on television. So you see a huge spike in ad spends. So they're spending roughly $5.1 billion on advertising on TV.
Right.
Which is just an incredible number, right?
Dr. Jarvis, we're about out of time. What do you think is next? As Kimberly said at the top in the intro, that President Trump and even senators from both sides of the aisle are really pushing for this to come to fruition, where these drug price transparency will happen in these ads. What are the odds that that's actually going to happen?
I think it might happen, but it will happen in a different manner than it's currently proposed. What we see is that a lot of times we have a recommendation by our Senate, and then you see a lot of text on bills. So I think you'll see some changes to that happen as the companies lobby them, and also the big media lobbies them, because the TV industry has a lot of money kind of wrapped in pharmaceutical ads as well. So they're trying to make their customers happy, and they're lobbying also to not have this happen.
Well, thank you so much for being on the program, Dr. Katie Jarvis, healthcare efficiency and transparency expert, talking to us about price transparency for prescriptions.